we're gonna try this again. Okay, so hi, I'm Ivy Loon and welcome to my channel. So this is my second video, and this is also my second time filming my second video, which is why it is dark behind me now. So we're trying something a little bit different. I have a light here and it's gonna make the rest of the room look dark. Sorry if that's awkward. Unfortunately, there's kind of nothing that I can really do about it. I filmed it once earlier in the day and we had the sunlight coming in from the window, but unfortunately it is dark now and I really want to get this video filmed. So we're gonna enjoy the ambiance together. Sorry, I'm talking pretty quietly because the dorms here the walls are very thin, so I'm trying to be respectful of people who are doing things. So usually I was planning on having like something that I was gonna eat with me while I film, but I'm not really hungry, so I'm not gonna eat during this. We're just gonna sit and have a nice little chat here. So today, I think what I want to talk about is the tools that I use to stay on track with my mental health. As a college student, things can get pretty hectic. I can have a pretty busy schedule, and sometimes I don't always do what's best for myself. So these are just some tools that I use to help keep my mental health in the best shape that it can be in, and maybe anyone who's watching can relate to some of these, or, you know, maybe somebody can get some new ideas. It's nothing really groundbreaking, but I just thought I'd share. So we're gonna get into it. The first thing that I usually like to do is go for walks. So walks are a really great way for me to kind of get my body moving, get out in nature. It's a good break from schoolwork. And I usually like to do something while I'm walking. So I like to listen to a podcast or listen to even just some lo-fi music. And one of the things that I really like to do though is I really like to call my mom, and it's a great way to fit in a conversation with my mom since we don't always have time for that. I live very far away from home. And then so the second thing that I like to do is read. And there are generally two genres of books that I typically gravitate towards. Did you guys see that too? Apparently we have ghosts. The first one would be like social and political commentary books. So I really like to read those just because I feel like it's a great way to hear differing opinions and just stay informed in the world we live in today. I feel like it's always good to stay informed, so that's something that I really like to do. And then the second type of book that I like to read are like self-helpy, like journaling prompt type books that really just like get me thinking about my own personal journey and personal growth and things like that. Actually, hold on. The current book that I'm reading is The How. And this is a really good book. It's notes on the great work of meeting yourself. So it's all about like getting to know yourself, trying to understand yourself. And there's a lot of things in here. The reason that I like it, there's a lot of things in here that they're not even necessarily like direct, like write about this journal prompts, but things that really make you think and make me want to reflect in my journal or make me want to reflect through writing. So that's really what I do as far as reading goes. And then that's a good segue into my third thing. So the third thing that I like to do is journal, and I do all kinds of things in my journal. It usually just depends on what type of mood I'm in, how I'm feeling, what I feel like I could really benefit from in the moment. Some days that is tarot reading. So I'm not really entirely sure where I stand on like my actual like hard and fast belief on like whether I think it's real and things like that, but sometimes I feel like you just need that little bit of guidance, that little bit of extra input that feels like it's just for you. So I do two main readings when I do tarot, one of which is like a direct question, and then I'll shuffle the cards and wait for one card to pop out, and that's usually what I take as an answer. And then the other type of reading that I do is past, present, future. And this I usually do when I'm just feeling a little lost, feeling a little bit like you know, I'm having a rough patch and I need kind of a reminder of, you know, who I am, where I've been, how far I've come, what I have to look forward to, things like that. And that reading is just, I pull 3 cards, one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future, and then I'll usually write a little blurb about it, how I applied it to my own life in my journal. Another thing that I like to journal is lists. So I'm a very detail-oriented person, so lists are very helpful for me to have around. Some of the typical lists that I make are to-do lists, gratitude lists, manifestation lists, things that I did for myself that day, things that I'm proud of, stuff like that. And that's always just helpful to get me, you know, thinking about some of the positive things in my life and get me feeling a little bit better after a long day. And then the last type of journaling that I really like to do is just kind of letting out all of my feelings. So I usually do that in paragraph form, and it's usually like a stream of consciousness style of writing. So I'll just kind of talk about how I'm feeling, and that usually goes into why I think I'm feeling that way. And sometimes I just kind of let it all out. Oftentimes when I do this, I write the word yikes a lot. But whenever I do this, I definitely see a lot of yikes, a lot of ugh, a lot of I don't know, things like that. So another tool that I use to keep my mental health on track is little spa nights when I feel like I just need a little bit of time for myself. So that includes things like face masks. I usually have a couple sheet masks just lying around with me, just in case I have a bad day and feel like I need to use one. That usually includes an elaborate skincare routine too. I have a lot of products that I use. Very rarely do I use all of them. I have a couple that I just routinely use, and then some of them are just for these elaborate spa nights. Another thing that I do for spa nights is I don't wax or shave. I use a sugaring solution, so that's another thing that I do. I think I'm just not very good at it, but it usually takes me a pretty long time, so that's a good way for me to just sit on the floor, throw on a podcast, spend some time with myself, just doing something like that for however long it takes. Spa nights are also great with things that focus on my scalp. I typically get a lot of tension headaches, so I find it's really nice to use a scalp oil and a scalp massage to just kind of relieve any of that tension and avoid headaches in the future. And then of course you can't have a spa night without some soothing music, some nice soothing lighting. It's really a necessity, I think. Okay, so we're kind of nearing the end of the list. I have 2 things left. First, we have food. So I find that I actually don't physically feel hungry sometimes. Sometimes my hunger comes in the form of being really frustrated or being really angry. I do get hangry for sure, so food can definitely help to boost my mood. I find especially that when I can get something that's really nourishing for my body, really colorful, really pretty, so nourish bowls, grain bowls, poke bowls, falafel wraps, things that are just pleasing to look at and also good for my body. That always feels like a productive thing. That's something that always elevates my mood a little bit, and that's really great. And then there's also definitely a time and place for comfort foods. There's definitely a time and place for that mac and cheese, that cereal, waffles, things that just remind me of home and make me feel warm and cozy and, can really just have a positive impact after a long day or, when I'm going through something. And I want to make a quick note here that I understand that food should not be used as a coping mechanism, and I completely agree with that. I just find that food can be more than just fuel. I find that food can be a great way to bring you closer with other people, and I'm definitely still, finding that balance, finding what works for me. It's definitely a delicate balance that I won't pretend that I have mastered. I'm always learning, always changing, hopefully for the better, and yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Okay, and then the last thing on my list is just talking to people. Talking to people is a really great way to let your feelings out, and especially if you talk to a licensed psychologist or just a counselor, that can be a great way to work through your problems and actively work towards fixing them. So I find that it's super important to just have that support structure around you. For me, it's definitely my mom, my friends, my roommate. Those are all people who I can really just rely on to talk to when I am struggling or when I'm having a great day. It's good to share all of that. I'm definitely a huge advocate for getting professional help. I honestly believe that everyone could benefit from seeing a counselor at some point in their life. Even if you're the healthiest person in the world, I think that everyone could benefit from just seeing somebody professional and talking to them about some of the struggles that they go through, because we all face struggles. That being said, I understand that I'm in a very privileged position. We do have free counseling services on campus that I've been using, and even when I'm at home, I do have access to mental health care. So I do recognize that that is a privilege that I hold, but I just think that it's important to advocate for people getting the help that they need, and to recognize too that there are a lot of free services online. I know that they're not the best option out there, but something is better than nothing for sure. Yeah, and talking to people is something that I have struggled with for sure. I definitely tend to be the type of person that kind of prefers to be a loner, prefers to, only rely on myself, to be like radically independent. So that's something that I'm always working on, and something that I have to make the conscious effort to recognize when something is bothering me and decide to talk to somebody about it. So I understand that that's hard for people. It's definitely hard for me, but I encourage people to really do their best with it. So with that, I think that that's about all of my tools that are really majorly helpful with my mental health. I pretty much do these things as I feel inspired to do them. I don't really have a strict schedule of when I do these things. I have tried in the past to, make it a goal to journal every single day, and I just find that when I try and put myself on a strict schedule, it makes me not want to do it. So I would say on average, I typically do these things of my own volition, other than spa nights and more extravagant stuff, like 3 to 4, sometimes 5 times a week. So I hope that this video was, kind of informative, maybe gave some ideas for things that you could do to help yourself. If you're still watching, you made it to the end of the video, thanks so much, and I definitely hope to see you again soon. Feel free to, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want. I'm gonna try and keep uploading stuff as I feel inspired to talk about things. Have a great rest of your day, night, weekend, whenever you're watching this, so bye!